Welcome to Films and Stuff with your hosts, Pete Mitchell and Ethan Hunt.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Films and Stuff podcast. I'm Ethan, joined by the most valuable Pete. Hey, Pete, what's up?
Not much, buddy. How are you?
It is Saturday morning. That can only mean one thing. It is time for our weekly stream or skip segment.
Woo!
Yeah. Usually I do a brief introduction. I turn it over to you and I ask you to explain the rules. So without further ado, Pete, please recap the rules for stream or skip.
Sure. Ethan and I have prepared lists of TV shows and movies for each other to watch. Every week, we randomly assign each other one of those shows. We watch at least 2 episodes if it's a series, 30 minutes if it's a feature-length program, and on that basis, we determine if that show is worthy of being streamed or skipped.
Wow, super well said. Would you like to kick it off?
I'll kick it off. Mine's going to be relatively short. I saw a show on Apple TV Plus, so there's already a big plus right there.
Yep.
It's called The Big Cigar. So first of all, it's a biopic, it's a true story, and it's a miniseries. So you only got the 6 or 8 episodes, and then you're done.
Yeah, it's very Apple, huh?
Yeah, it's very Apple. It's a biopic based on the founder of the Black Panther Party, Huey P. Newton.
Okay. I
Yeah.
have no idea what the story is.
Yeah, so the story is that, he founds the Black Panther Party, and then of course there's, because of racial injustice, etc. And this guy is incredibly smart, so he knows the law, he knows the different codes of the law, so he can't be intimidated by the police. So like in the opening scene of the movie, he approaches 2 traffic police officers who have pulled over another black guy and are in the process of arresting them. And he comes out of the car with a shotgun cocked, and they're about to arrest him. And he says, well, actually, under this and this statute, under this and this law, as long as I'm not waving it in your face, it's totally legal for me to have this. They're all of a sudden caught unaware because they clearly don't know the law as well as he does.
Okay.
And now they're faced with the prospect of 2 black guys with a shotgun faced at these guys. So that's, it just shows that A, he wasn't intimidated by the police, and B, he wasn't intimidated because he was smart and he was able to use the law in his advantage.
Okay.
What happens is that according to this, and I'm not saying it's true or not true, this is similar to the show we did last week with Manhunt. We're saying this is based on a true story, but we're not saying that all elements of it are absolutely true because we don't know.
Okay.
But apparently, the FBI had a hard-on for this guy, and so they framed him for murder.
Okay.
And so he decides that he needs to leave America.
Was he convicted of murder, or he was just kind of like...
No, they had a warrant out for his arrest, and he knew that the moment he gets arrested, he was going to basically be taken care of wherever he was.
Okay. So he tries to escape the U.S. He's going to leave the U.S.
So he tries to escape the U.S., and he's got 2 friends, a guy named Bert Schneider and a guy named Steve Blauner. Now, Bert Schneider is the son of the Columbia Film Studios president. And Bert Schneider was a famous guy in Hollywood because he created the show The Monkees. Do you remember that?
Oh, The Monkees.
And he produced the film Easy Rider.
Okay.
So it's, a show about how it's kind of like unlikely allies because, you have the founder of the Black Panther Party, and then you have the 2 white guys from Hollywood, America. The idea is that they team up because, first of all, the Black Panther Party needs cash. And Bert Schneider and Steve Blauner have donated a lot of money to the Black Panther Party. And they've donated money to the Black Panther Party because he thinks that Huey Newton is like a star, he could be the next Hollywood star.
Oh, really?
He wants to use Hollywood to kind of push the agenda while making money doing so.
Okay.
Anyway, the premise of this is that they decide to create a fake movie and film it in Cuba. And Cuba is called the Big Cigar when they're speaking on the phone because
Oh,
all the phones are tapped by the FBI.
yeah.
So they use code words. And so they call the movie The Big Cigar. And the idea is to try to smuggle Huey out of America into Cuba where he can seek political asylum.
Okay. And this is over how many episodes?
8 episodes.
Okay.
So do you remember the movie Argo with Ben Affleck?
I do remember Argo.
It's almost exactly the same premise, except that
Oh,
in that movie, they were a Canadian film crew trying to bring American hostages back from Iran
yeah.
to America. Here, it's trying to get a political fugitive out of America to Cuba.
Okay.
But same premise. They're going to do it as a movie. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. It's pretty interesting. I really enjoyed it. I watched the entire 8 episodes. I finished the entire series.
Whoa, you binged it.
I did binge. Well, I didn't binge it. I watched it over 3-4 days. So yeah, I
Okay.
guess it's a binge. 3-4 days for me isn't what I would consider a binge. Normally, if I love a show, I finish it then and there.
Yeah.
This is not a must subscribe. This is a strong mooch. It's
Okay.
very close to being a must subscribe. It doesn't have the same charm as the film Argo did, but that could also be because it's 8 episodes versus like a 2-hour film. And because it's a biographical feature on a subject matter that I'm not very familiar with, in this case, the Black Panther Party, I think you need to be tied to that history or you really need to be interested in that history to really love this show. And I'm not.
Hmm.
So I liked it because the premise itself I thought was fun and it was cool. But like this isn't a comedy. This is a straight drama. Nothing is being played for laughs in any way, shape, or form.
It's interesting you brought up Argo as a comparison because in Argo, there was a lot of kind of like film jargon or terminology
Yeah.
or like details. Does this have the same where you can like really get into the nuts and bolts of making a movie?
Very little.
Oh,
Very little. I think that movie was much more technical about this is going to be a film production.
right.
And this one was not. This was just, like, here's $25,000 in cash that we have. We need to pay a drug dealer to smuggle this guy out from this airstrip. So we need to get the airstrip made. How do we get the airstrip made? Let's get a bunch of the Teamsters from our movie set to make the airstrip. That kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's not technical in any way, shape, or form.
So that's it, one and done. It's just the 8 episodes and that's the end of it.
And that's it. So yeah, it's a strong mooch. I can totally understand if someone comes to me and says, hey, this is a must subscribe. On the flip side, I can also understand that, if you're not into the premise and you're definitely not into the subject matter, I can totally understand if someone comes and says, hey, I don't really care about the Black Panther Party as a subject of a TV series. Like, it's not interesting to me. I don't know who any of these people are. I get that it's a true story, but like, it's not interesting. I'm out. I can understand that. What made this a strong mooch for me was the premise, because I thought the premise was fun. And I also think that that's kind of like a shocking thing to do, right? It's to smuggle someone out of America for being a political prisoner. It's usually the other way around. You're trying to smuggle someone into America.
Yeah. You're trying to usually save someone, get them out of a different country. In this case, it's the US.
Yeah.
Were they successful?
They were successful. And then it does what every good biopic does. That last episode, the last 10 minutes at the end credits, they kind of tell you what happened in real life and, what's going on and that sort of thing. So it was nice. It was good. I think there's a strong case for this having been made into a movie rather than a TV series. It would certainly not be able to get as in depth, but, in either case, it's very good.
Okay, well done. So that is The Big Cigar on Apple TV Plus.
Indeed. All right. How was Goliath?
Yeah, shifting gears a little bit. I was assigned Goliath, which is on Amazon Prime Video. Interestingly, this is something that neither you or I have come across before. It's 4 seasons, but it ran from 2017 to 2021. So it's a little bit dated. It's known to star Billy Bob Thornton. That's probably like its big claim to fame. And it's set in kind of a ambiguous present time, let's say. it hasn't really aged. You can watch it and not be like, wow, I'm watching something from, 2021. It's so old, right?
Right.
It's kind of aged well, I guess we can say. So it is a legal drama. And I think that we've seen Billy Bob Thornton kind of play I think he was in this movie called The Judge with Robert Downey Jr., right?
Yeah.
Where he plays kind of like a prosecutor, and he's like very, very straight and narrow, very prim and proper, right? Like very disciplined, all his, suits very well pressed and manicured. Here, Billy Bob is playing the opposite, something you'd kind of imagine a Billy Bob character to play, right? So he's a brilliant lawyer, and this is based in kind of like the Santa Monica, Los Angeles area. So he is a brilliant lawyer who worked at a very, very good and powerful kind of local law firm. He washed out, or he burned out, because he was representing someone, and we find out in his backstory that he got the person to be found not guilty, or the charges dropped. And then apparently the person went and committed murder subsequent to that. So Billy Bob had kind of like a career crisis. He felt very guilty and took responsibility for what happened. He kind of thought that he was responsible for this murder, because had he not gotten the person off on a technicality, they would have gone to prison. They wouldn't have had the opportunity to do that. So this kind of sets him off in a downward spiral. He loses his job, or he's terminated from his job at this law firm. And he just becomes kind of like this drunk living in a hotel, kind of doing a little bit of legal work on the side. He's got like an assistant who seems to be like part-time assistant, part-time sex worker. Like it's intended to cast Billy Bob as a brilliant, but definitely like not down on his luck, but like someone who's just become like very much a hermit, doesn't give a crap about anything in life. He's just kind of like doing his own thing day to day, no real long-term plan. But because he's such a brilliant mind, he's known to take on very, very challenging legal cases. And he generally takes on legal cases for people who would be considered like the underdog, right? So you can kind of consider him like the A-team of legal representation, right? When no one else is willing to take your case, when no one else believes you, like you've got nowhere else to turn, possibly Billy Bob will take his case if he sees, something redeeming about it, or, he believes in you. So that's where this starts. I watched 2 episodes, and what we see is that there's a widow, and, she believes that, her husband who died was kind of framed, or, was made to be responsible, under these certain circumstances. No law firm would, help her or take her on or represent her. Billy Bob does it. And then we find out that Billy Bob is going to be up against his own law firm. His own law firm is kind of like the founder or the managing partner is William Hurt. I mean, we've come across him in so many things before, right? And William Hurt also plays a very strange character. Apparently he's somehow disfigured. So he actually never comes to the office. He just monitors everything like remotely by cameras, by video from his home. He's basically a dictator, and he decides everything about everybody, about every case in his firm. And, him and Billy Bob, when they used to work together, were very, very close. Now, obviously, he views, Billy Bob as a little bit of I don't know, like he feels some betrayal. So obviously, he absolutely wants to win this case against Billy Bob. And Billy Bob, while he's got some very, very good legal theories, he is often drunk and passed out and getting into fights. Just kind of the normal shenanigans we've seen from, like a lot of characters who are really meant to be a hot mess or a dumpster fire, but at the same time, have some, redeeming intellectual qualities about them.
Mm-hmm.
So I think from what I've described, it could be a little bit compelling. The one thing that makes us a little bit unfortunate is that it's very, very vulgar. Not Deadpool in a haha vulgar way, but he just swears a lot, and he uses like, it's almost a little bit unnecessary. And I feel like that's one of the things that actually detracts from what could actually be a very, very good story and what could be a really good character for Billy Bob. I mean, it makes it through 4 seasons because it is a good kind of storyline. I like the idea of, Billy Bob's character, but I have to say the amount of vulgarity and the general, I mean, Billy Bob really goes out of his way to look and act at all times disheveled, hungover, not giving a crap about how he looks, dresses, acts, behaves anywhere, whether it's a diner, a courtroom, or otherwise. That's a little bit off-putting to me. So I got through my 2 episodes. I see some redeeming qualities. I could definitely understand if someone considered this a mooch. I gave it a skip. It's not without any redeeming qualities, but again, in a very, very crowded entertainment space where we've got so many other things that we like watching, I cannot say that even like I would continue on this after, 2 episodes. Maybe just for the good of films and stuff, I would watch like a third. But again, like if you're asking me what I'm doing tonight and I've got my pick of everything that's available, I would absolutely not consider watching this for a 3rd episode.
So you said this was 4 seasons, right?
4 seasons.
So, but this isn't like your stereotypical suit style procedural, where
Well,
every episode is kind of like its own standalone thing.
yeah. So the way it seems to be shaking out now is that there's going to be one major case
Every season.
where he's representing this widow. But yeah, that makes sense that every year there's going to be like a new big case. But right now that seems to be, the main plot line where he's trying to interview witnesses, get information. Does he believe her? Does he not believe her? Try to get some evidence. There's obviously other storylines at the same time. I mean, he's got relationship issues. He's got money issues. He's got, other things going on, but this is primarily, the main storyline that's weaving all the episodes together.
It's kind of like a more vulgar Lincoln Lawyer.
It's a more vulgar Lincoln Lawyer. I mean, I could not say that it's totally unrelated to Suits, because you can see that in William Hurt's law firm, we're starting to be introduced to more than one lawyer, and a few of them have like their own little quirky things. So it would not be a stretch to say that, it's totally dissimilar to kind of Suits in terms of, the office drama and who's staffed on this case and who did this. I would expect that as this goes on, it's not difficult to just kind of like take the bait and say, look, probably there's going to be a lawyer who's friendly to Billy Bob at the law firm. Someone's going to, give him some secrets or some confidential information, or someone's going to, give him a tip about something that he should be following up on. I would expect that there's going to be someone who undermines all this surveillance system and something just to like give him some leaks, and someone's going to be kind of like working on his side. That's kind of how I see this going, after a few episodes.
Okay. I understand.
So I gave it a skip. Again, not too, I think you and I always, kind of show our soft side when we give a skip. The show is actually solidly put together, casted very, very well, storyline, dialogue, production quality, mostly because of just the vulgarity and the general disheveledness of Billy Bob. It's hard for me to really say like I would call anyone for their Amazon Prime password and watch this independently just as my guilty pleasure.
Right.
On an airplane, if there's like nothing else to watch, I could probably watch this instead of like a National Geographic documentary. But apart from that, I'd probably try something else I've never seen before I'd go back to this.
Okay.
That is our streamer skip review for this week. So, Pete, what do we have next week? What are the assignments?
I am actually quite excited because you're going to be on Apple TV Plus.
Okay.
And you are watching a classic, even though it's a brand new show.
A new
called
classic.
Time Bandits.
Time Bandits? That seems like right up my alley.
Yeah, it is based on the, I want to say 80s Terry Gilliam movie. And I think they've serialized it.
Really?
I think it's like a reboot, but I'm not sure. I saw one trailer. I'm very interested to see what you think of it.
Oh, interesting. Okay. I have no expectations. I'm excited to check it out.
Perfect. And while you're doing that, I will be on one of the more niche platforms, AMC Plus, which people might remember I subscribed to for that Stanley Tucci show about the sunken treasure.
The sunken treasure.
It's been too long now. I can't remember. But anyway, I will be on that platform to watch Dark Winds.
Oh, that could be good, huh?
I don't know anything about it.
It's like a Western, right?
Is it? Okay. I mean, that's fine. I am not opposed to Westerns.
I think so. AMC, to me, usually has some pretty good quality. So I'm excited to hear how you get on with this.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. But until then, can we ask you guys to please do us a small favor?
A solid.
Let us know what shows you'd like us to review for Streamer Skip. It doesn't have to be a TV series. It could be a movie. It could just be something you saw on your platform that showed up new and you're kind of afraid to watch it yourself because you don't want to waste the time. We will waste that time for you.
With pleasure.
We need more on our lists. We're down to, again, maybe 4 or 5 shows each. And that'll be helpful for us. So reach out to us, tweet at us at F&S Podcast, DM us on Instagram at Films and Stuff Podcast. But the easiest thing you can do, like this video, leave a comment below, subscribe to our channel, and hit that notification bell.
Appreciate everyone tuning in. Pete, as always, thank you for your gifted analysis. And we will see you all next week on the Films and Stuff Podcast. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Ethan. Thanks, everyone.
Bye now.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Films and Stuff. If you haven't already, please subscribe and review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever podcasts are downloaded. Films and Stuff. There is no substitute.